Yeah. you look like Carissa.
I look like Chrissy. It's all good. So my name is Carissa Bradley. I am a senior about to graduate here in May. I'm studying environmental science with a minor in public administration, and throughout my time here at the university I've been really involved with student government, and I'd say that that's kind of my identity and where I've seen myself, my group, my people, my niche for a while now. Anything you could think of, I've probably done it, I've probably been involved with, and I love that part of myself about this university and about getting to kind of leave my mark here. So I first started in student government my freshman year of high school. I took a leadership class, and it wasn't the full student government by any means, it was just kind of like the class that you took as an elective, and then I fell in love with it. My teacher and I were super close, and I had some friends that I had made through the class, and Miss Bear, I'm really close with her still, but Miss Bear was like, you should apply for student government, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do it. And so I applied for student government, and then I just absolutely fell in love with it. I started as a spirit intern, and then I was a spirit commissioner, and I moved up to be student body vice president in high school as well. So it was only a natural transition to come and do it here at the university. Little did I know our student government was incredible, doing things that I couldn't have even imagined coming from a high school student government background. ASUN is incredible in the way that we're able to allocate funds and really make differences in students' lives, whereas when I first started it was just about I like making posters and I want to be able to pick what the rally theme might be, but now it's just so much bigger and more important than that. I guess some of my proudest accomplishments of when I was a senator was I created the Director of Sustainability, which now we've seen kind of transform and blossom over the last couple of years to be a position that's really great for advocacy on sustainable issues here on campus. So I fell in love with ASUN even more after I was a senator, and I chose to continue on, and in the 85th session I was the Chief of Staff of ASUN, which for that position it had just received a pay increase. It also just received a lot of responsibility increase, which I was able to implement and kind of streamline a bunch of different programs throughout the year, such as our banquet and our retreats, and just simple little things that like we just didn't do before that I was able to kind of like implement and make just a lot easier on everybody else. So my favorite thing I did when I was Chief of Staff was Elect Her. And Elect Her is a program that myself and Hannah Jackson brought to the university, which is a leadership program, conference kind of style training to develop the next generation of women in leadership, specifically elected positions within government. We had it, there was plenty of men there too. We advertised it to everybody, but we were able to have 50 young women and men learn how to run to be officers. So that kind of leads into my next position, which was vice president. I'd say my favorite thing I did as vice president was just really implementing and trying out new things that like hadn't been done before. So we did the JCPenney suit up event with the career studio in the fall. We ended up having over 100 students come and get reduced business clothing that they wouldn't have had the opportunity to without ASUN inputs and career studio collaboration. And so it was just, I think as vice president, the role is super vague. I don't have a lot of job duties per the SAS or anything like that, but I have had the freedom and flexibility to do kind of whatever I wanted. I would say the end of my junior year was for sure when I realized that like, okay, I'm ready to take on this next role. Like I've done a lot for this university, and I trust the voters, trust me kind of mentality. Obviously we ran unopposed, but we had a 30% like voting turnout, which means the people liked what Hannah and I were talking about, and I felt like that was when I really knew that what I was doing people enjoyed and people agreed with, or they didn't agree with, and they were okay with still letting Hannah and I kind of run the association for a while. But yeah, I would say spring semester of my junior year was when I had really seen that I had kind of dialed in on my academics. I dialed in on kind of my professional career. I dialed in on ASUN, and also I just enjoying. I was only doing things that I genuinely wanted to be doing at that point. My worst times. I have a really unique friend group, I would say. So I think my friends have gotten me through a lot of things. I'm not super close with my family in comparison to some other people maybe, but I really use my friends as my family, and I've never been one to have like a huge group of friends where every single one of us are best friends. I typically, I guess, kind of work more in the, like, I have a lot of different best friends, but they aren't necessarily best friends. And that's really worked for me, and it's kind of helped me get through some tough times, get through some awesome times, and overall I'm able to like go and get advice and see how they're doing, or how, you know, if I need help, they're always going to be there. I've planned everything out my entire life. Like, I was like, I'm going to take this class, I know exactly what I'm going to do in this semester. I was that person that had like that 5-year plan of like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And now that I'm getting to the end of that, you know, goal time that I had for so long, I'm realizing that I kind of want to just be flexible and be okay with like, maybe I'll move somewhere, maybe I'll, you know, my boyfriend's in the Navy, like maybe I'll go and visit him, like maybe I'll just take a year off, maybe I'll go to law school, I don't know. I'm kind of just trying to stay flexible, but most likely stay in the planet at some point. I have high hopes of running for office one day, but we'll see. I love the state of Nevada, so I hope to stay here, kind of down the road. I'm genuinely happy, and when I have like a lot of people around me, and I can go somewhere and I know a lot of people, or I can have a conversation with whoever in the room, and not to say that's success per se, but I think that's what makes me happy, and I think like my definition of success would be being happy, and that's I try to do that by having like a lot of really solid relationships and putting towards time to those relationships as well. I attribute my success to kind of my resilience. And see, I grew up in a pretty weird upbringing, to be honest. I was in and out of foster care. My parents dealt with addiction. So at a very young age, I learned how to be an adult, and I learned how to work for what I want and make sure that nobody's really going to hand you anything, nobody's going to give you anything, and I use that mentality kind of throughout high school leadership and throughout college, for sure. College leadership, I've definitely seen some rough times. It's hard to go, like, college is hard, and so I think that resiliency of just kind of like learning it at a young age really prepared me well, and that's kind of attributed to my success. But I do organize my life pretty well. I'm very to-do list oriented, and not like really big bullets. I'm the kind of person that gets really a lot of satisfaction by being able to check off a box. And that said, means that I have maybe it's like a pretty small project, but I have like a list of like 25 things that are like, emailed so-and-so, did this, and they're like very small things, very minute details, but for me, that's like how I'm able to kind of track my progress and track my success, and I'll check it off, and I'm like, okay, cool. Some of the other things is just having a good balance between like work and life, because like I've always been good about integrating with my friends and like fun things I like to do. Like I've never been in like somebody who, like, I'll go out on the weekends. Like I like being social. Like that's what fills me up. So I made sure that throughout college I didn't just like only do school or only do ASUN. Like I wanted to have the full college experience, and I did, and I'm very happy that I did that. My competitive advantage might be that I'm so damn competitive. Because I've been competitive since I was little. I played sports when I was young, like barely able to stand up, kind of young. So I played softball, and then I played volleyball. and I played like travel ball for it and all those things. And so I guess I learned very young to be very competitive, and I have 3 younger brothers, so I think that also helps. So I guess my competitive advantage is that I'm competitive and I like to win, but like I'm not afraid to lose either. But I like winning, and I think like when you're in a winning mindset, like you put the effort towards what you want to do, you make the connections you need to make, you're just constantly working. And another thing that I think kind of sets me apart from a lot of different people is that I always come with a solutions-based mindset. So for example, if I'm in a meeting and there's some things that are just not working. They're just not working for the event we're planning or whatever else we're doing. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and just be like, well, this isn't working, right? Like, I'm gonna be like, okay, like, let's do this. Let's try this out. Have you thought about this? And most of the time, those aren't actual solutions. Like, we're like, oh, there's policy that says we can't do that. I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe we could do this. And like, that I think has awarded me opportunities that a lot of people might not have gotten, just because I'm always looking to kind of solve problems and help where I can. Being able to listen. I definitely came into college with a big head. I came off of high school where I was captain of the volleyball team, student government. I just won all these awards at my senior thing. Like, I was riding the high of being a big fish in a small pond. But when I got to college, I realized that I was a really crappy listener, and I just didn't listen very well to people. I think it also stems from like having so many siblings. Like, you always want to have that competitive edge over them too. So when I was chief of staff, I remember going through and helping our director of clubs and organization at the time, and he was kind of struggling with like what to report on. And I was like, well, people don't really even know what clubs and orgs does. Like, why don't you just kind of like each week tell them what's going on? Like, and for me, I didn't think that was like a big deal. But to him, it made him feel like I didn't know what was going on in clubs and orgs, and I didn't know what was happening. And I found out this year from from Luke, our clubs and orgs director, and he said, oh yeah, like so-and-so did not like you because like he thought that you didn't respect the department. And I was like, what? No, that's not how I even meant it to come off. So it's more of that, I would call that a mistake, because I wasn't being cognizant of like how my words were going to make somebody else feel, and I was just trying to be kind of like funny and relatable, but it came off like in a different way to him. So I would say that was like a mistake. But also there's just been like small things, like maybe I should have gone to a certain event, or maybe I shouldn't have gone, or whatever else, but nothing that's like too blaringly obvious. My best advice is to just get involved. It sounds so cheesy, but honestly, getting involved with school is the best thing that I've ever done. I will say this till the day I die, is like, you need to be involved with whatever community you're a part of. So whether that be your kids PTA or your like neighborhood watch, I don't know, like, it's just so important to get involved with whatever you're doing, just because you feel like a greater sense of connectedness to it. You feel like it's truly serving others is so amazing too. But yeah, just get involved however you can, whether that be through research or clubs, and like, or be an assistant officer, like run for president, like do it. I don't care, like just get involved, because that's how you live out like the best times, especially in college, because we have so many resources and organizations and clubs like at our fingertips that like you just don't have in the like adult big girl big boy world, so just get involved. I don't think I would do anything differently, to be honest. Even things that maybe weren't a great decision at the time, like I learned a lot from. So to quote the quote from Banquet, like I wouldn't do anything over again other than to just to enjoy it one more time, because it's getting to the end and now I'm realizing kind of how much of an impact this has had on my life.